Welcome to the Business Spotlight series. My name is Kay Cote, and I am your podcast host today. And today on the show, we have Vijay Mistry, and he is the CEO and owner of Too Funky Arts. We're going to learn all about him, his journey to business ownership, some best practices he's learned a lot along the way, and maybe some challenges he's faced. So, we're going to give you that look into what it's really like to own and operate a business. If this is your first time on our channel, be sure to like and subscribe to get notifications when we drop episodes like this. Well, welcome, VJ. It is so great to have you on the show today.
Thank you for inviting me. Pleasure to be here.
Wonderful. Well, I'd like to dive in right away. Share a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your business.
Yeah, so we're based in Leicester, which is in the UK. I've been in business now as part of this kind of organization. This is our 28th year. So we do a lot of work around music, arts, a lot of it kind of around black music, so kind of hip hop, R&B, reggae. Those are a lot of those genres we kind of work in predominantly. So we do run a few companies actually. We do run an arts organization where we do lots of different projects, also run a radio station alongside that. And then separate to that, as a commercial venture, we run three music venues as well, just kind of based in Leicester as well. So they both kind of work alongside each other. Too Funky Arts being the not-for-profit social enterprise, and then Too Funky Complex, which is the other side, being the kind of the commercial arm of the brand.
Oh my gosh. Well, I am so excited to dive in because I am a huge music fan. So this is going to
Okay.
be a great conversation. Oh, well, tell us a little bit about the role you're currently playing within the business.
Yeah, so currently, as part of the arts side, my job is really as CEO to kind of have the vision and ideas, what kind of projects we want to deliver, what kind of projects are in demand from our kind of young people, our local communities, looking where the gaps are locally, also regionally, and then trying to identify a project that would kind of, fill that gap, but then also sourcing funding, sponsorship, how to raise finance to deliver these projects. We have a really good team in the office and who work remotely with us. So I think that's the kind of first thing we do. And then once you identify a project, you identify a funder, then there's a whole process of trying to raise the funding. We also use external bid writers as well, because it's some of the projects are quite on a big scale as well.
Mm.
And then if we are successful with the funding, then it's just a case of sitting down with the team, planning the project, planning the timeline, looking at budgets, marketing, all the ins and outs of the various kind of business and stuff, and then assigning somebody to be in charge of it. So it could be I could be project managing a project. There's another couple of project managers in the office, so we just decide who's the best fit and what the workload is at the minute, and then they'll kind of drive that project. But the rest of the team will, be fit in somewhere. We'll have a marketing person, we'll have a development officer, we'll have different people with different roles, admin, accounts. So as a team, you just, get stuck in.
Oh, well, that is super cool. Now, you mentioned a team. So you have a
Yeah.
growing team. How many team members do you currently have?
So in our art side, we have myself, project manager, project coordinator, admin, marketing, a development officer, our radio station manager, and then so there's seven as the core team, I think. There's a bookkeeper as well, account. So there's eight of us as the core team, but then we use a lot of freelancers as well. So when there's big projects on, we'll bring in freelancers, depending on the scale of the project and what's needed. So we could have, on a project, maybe another 5, 10 freelancers who might jump
Mhm.
on, whether it's for a day or whether it's for the whole duration of the project as well. So um, yeah, so it can be every project varies depending on the scale of it. So we've got a project at the moment we're doing. Um, I think we've had something like 100 and over 100 volunteers who've been involved in this project on top of the core team plus our partners. So there's probably been about 150 people running on one of our projects. That's over a 2-year period though. So it does depend on the size, the length of the program as well.
Definitely. And so kind of looking at your ideal client or like a partner
Yeah.
on projects, how would I know, like if I walked into your space or saw you online, how would I know I'd be a good fit to be a client?
I think it's looking at kind of our website, looking at what type of we currently do, what type of work we've done previously, and just seeing if your work complements. Obviously, there's no point having exact same two companies kind of doing the same thing. It needs to be a different dynamic, but there needs to be some way that each company would complement each other. What different skills do you both bring to the table? And it'd have to be skills that we don't already have as well. So where are the gaps in our team, and what can you provide? And then I think that's when the conversations would start. And if there was some mileage there, that's when to have the conversations, look at how to move forward. If it's projects, if it's funding, is it 50-50, or is it one's a lead organization, one's a kind of smaller partner? So I think
Mhm.
those are all the kind of decisions, negotiations that would come along, per project, per partnership.
Definitely. Well, and as your, creative business, what is one thing you wish people knew more about your business?
Just how hard we work behind the scenes, I suppose, because I think a lot of times people see the end products. If you're doing a festival, or you're doing an event, or
Mhm.
you just worked with 8 different artists over 3-4 months, they normally just see the end product. So it's the actual showcase or the festival. And I think people don't realize, unless you come from this background, how much work and how many people are involved behind the scenes, the stresses, the ups and downs, the highs and lows, all the
Mhm.
problems you face. And it's all that. Then on the final day, everybody's smiling and everyone's happy, and it's a great event and it's successful. So I think people really will never know, unless you're part of this kind of type of work, what does go on behind the scenes, and all the arguments, or all the disagreements, and everything else that comes with it. So I think they're the things that people need to be aware of. It's not just that end product. There's That's probably the 2% of it, and the other 98% is what's been done in the build up to it.
Definitely. It's like all about putting out those fires, isn't
Yeah, yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And people don't see any of that. They just see the
Mhm.
end product as a member of the public, or somebody who's coming to see your work.
Definitely. It's like all that, all that work kind of goes, yeah, it's behind the scenes. I'm actually have a background in the industry as well. So I totally get where you're coming from. Kind of moving on to, into your why behind business. I'd like to talk a little bit about you, share a little bit about your history. So,
Yeah,
what inspired you to start the company, and how was it transitioning out of if you were in like a 9 to 5 or in a company into being a business owner? How was that for you?
yeah. I mean, for me, since I left kind of school, I've never really worked. I've had a few small jobs, but I've not really worked for anybody. So I've always been self-employed. I've always been trying different things. And it got to a stage when I was kind of in my mid-20s. I was always into music. I was always into business. And those two things kind of joined, and I ended up opening a record store. So this is going back to the days of vinyl. So that
Mhm.
was my kind of love. I thought that's great. I wanted to set up a business. I love music, so what a better combination. So he ended up opening a record store, and through the record store, selling music and stuff, a lot of young people were coming in, wanting to be DJs, wanting to be MCs. So we started delivering workshops within the shop. Just with some of my staff who were DJs, they started, teaching kids how to DJ and how to MC. And before we knew it, a lot of the local schools and youth clubs kind of heard about this. So they're like, oh, we want some of that. Can you come and deliver some classes in our school? So we started doing that. Then I started having lots of ideas for lots of different projects and stuff. And I thought it'd be so good if we could actually raise funding and put on our own projects, what, because we were getting a real feel of what these young people wanted. And it wasn't just about just going to do a DJ workshop. It was all about what are the issues that young people are facing today? How can we use arts to tackle some of those issues? And it could be something like, bullying, or mental health, or
Mhm.
knife crime, whatever the young people are facing in the community. We'd try and embed that within the learning of, but using music and art as a tool, really, to kind of tackle those issues. And then it just kind of grew and grew. We ended up setting up Two Funky Arts, which was a not-for-profit social enterprise. But even just my love of kind of black music and arts, I started doing, you know, kind of the black comedy shows in Leicester, dance shows, just lots of different spin-offs started coming through the shop. And then eventually, when kind of the demise of vinyl, when everything started going digital, we had to close the shop. We kind of closed that side and we just ended up doing the art side. And my other vision was always, because we're doing so many projects and all types of events across the city, I always wanted to get our own venue. I thought it'd be great if we had our own space where we could do workshops, we could do dance, we could do comedy, we could do live music. And eventually I found a venue quite close to the city centre. So I ended up taking over this venue as a complete new business, as a commercial business. And the great thing with this venue was it was part of a bigger venue which had three different venues within it. So my vision was always it'd be great to have three venues one day, but they're all based in the same building. So eventually, when the other people got evicted or left, I ended up taking three venues. So now we run this multi-complex venue. They're three separate venues, but you can join them together as well. So it's like 1,000 capacity space. So we're doing a lot of work there. We're doing a lot of stuff with the art side as well. And we also set up a radio station about 10 years ago. And again, it was just another arm to, I'm always thinking, what else can we do? We're doing, we've got venues, we've got all these different projects. Radio station was kind of the next thing. How could I tie everything in together and use the radio as a tool to promote what we're doing, but also to have a space there for local music and arts community to use as a medium to promote themselves as well. So it was really good because it kind of unites a lot of the city through what we do and what we kind of provide as well. So, but yeah, it's been 28 years later, we're still here. So we must be doing something right.
Definitely. Well, that is incredible story. I love how you shared about that
Yeah.
progression that you went through over the years. Kind of looking at like on this journey, I'm sure you faced a lot of like challenges and things that
Mm.
have you've had to overcome. Is there a challenge or something that you had to overcome that maybe stands out in your mind that you were able to overcome and thrive?
I mean, there's always challenge. I think a big challenge was when I had the shop, when it was doing really well, at the height of vinyl, we were doing really well. And then you're just thinking, this is it for life. We're just busy, we're making good money. This is it. You're never thinking about what could change around the corner, what could, turn the whole industry upside down. So you're almost like oblivious to you're not
Mm.
thinking about any problems. And then when the whole digital thing did come and we started seeing the decline of the whole kind of vinyl. When I started the business, it was started as a one-man band, just myself doing everything. But over the years, we got to a stage where we had 10 members of staff, running the store and all the different areas. But then when the decline came, it almost ended up with just me being on my own again. So it
Mhm.
was a real learning curve. And even when the shop closed, it was almost like, you know, I'd come to kind of a dead end as well. It was like, what do we do now? Because everything had just kind of come crashing.
Yeah.
The shop had kind of closed after 15 years. The whole vinyl thing had gone. So it was almost like reinventing yourself. So how do you go from zero, to
Mhm.
try and build? But I think although you have all those issues and it seems like you've failed overall, I think you just have to take it as a learning and a positive and think, right, I now I know what to expect. So I'm never kind of just assume that everything's here forever. So I think you've got to learn to diversify your business, your income streams, the way you work. You've got to, your business has got to. It's not a straight road, basically. You've got to. There's all these weaves and turns, and you've got to kind of roll with it. So I think just being creative as well, but really being open-minded and able to adapt. And I know a lot of the shops that did close down and they just disappeared completely because they couldn't adapt or diversify or
Mm.
think of, you know, what's their transferable skills? How can they go from all this knowledge and expertise of running a business to kind of zero? So I think that was always kind of a positive for myself. I always felt, I always would find a way of, you know, doing business or finding a new business or whatever. Even now, I'm always thinking about ideas and stuff.
Definitely. I think that's a huge like plus is, being that
Yeah,
adaptable and able to kind of shift and grow
yeah,
as the industry changes.
yeah, no, definitely. And I think you have to be passionate as well. So whatever you're doing, you've got to really enjoy and love what you're doing and be passionate because then you can do, 100 hours a week. You relentlessly make sure it's going to work. So you continue, you don't, there's no clocking off, it doesn't come to 5 o'clock and you go, right, that's it for today. I'm going to switch off. It just doesn't happen.
Very true. Well, kind of like, sharing about your past, I'd like to share about like, what do you have kind of planned for the next 3 to 5 years with your business?
I think in terms of the arts, I think I'd probably in a few years I'd probably want to step back a little bit and maybe bring in somebody else as a creative director to kind of give it maybe a new lease of life. I'd still be involved in it, but I think I'd want to take a step back and concentrate on other stuff. I don't know what the other stuff is, but I think that would be kind of an idea for me. And same with the venues. At the moment, it's great, but working till sometimes 5 in the morning, I might not want to do that in a few years because it's some long hours. So I think whatever I decide to do, I'll always be involved in music and arts. My other love after music is food. And what I did last year, I had this idea to open a small restaurant with a lot of music involved as well. So we did open this restaurant about 9 months ago, just around the corner from the venue. And we've tried to create a real experience and a vibe in there. So, you'll go there for a meal, but some days there'll be DJs, live DJs playing music, there'll be saxophone players, there'll be just different types of things. We're just working on some acoustic acts. So we're trying to really create an experience with this little restaurant that we've got, restaurant and bar. So that's kind of something I'm really enjoying at the minute because it's given me a new challenge. So
Hmm.
that's something that, we'd love to kind of get the model. I mean, it's doing really well. We just want to really fine tune everything with that side. And then once it's kind of fine tuned, we've already been approached to franchise it. So that could be a complete different challenge and something really exciting. So yeah, watch this space.
Wow. Well, that is so cool. I'm super excited for your venture and your continued growth. This has been such a fun conversation. So I really like to dive into our rapid fire questions, which is four
Okay.
questions off, and you can answer top of mind. Are you ready for some rapid fire?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Question number one is, what is a key to success for you?
I think passion. I think if I wasn't passionate, I wouldn't be here where I am today. So I think it's got to be, you've got to just love what you do. You've got to jump out of bed every morning, wanting to conquer the world with your passion.
Definitely. And the second question is, what is a piece of advice you have for other business owners?
I think if you fail, it, I always say it's like a roller coaster running a business. So there's lots of times you're going to fail on things, and I think if you're driven and you're confident that you can make this idea or business work, you've just got to be relentlessly working at it, just hammering away, chipping away. Just don't give up, just don't give up. If you need to change the way you do things, change it, but I think don't change the goal if you're 100% confident that you can make it work.
Definitely. Question number three is, what is like a book or it could be any sort of content that you've taken in most recently?
Ooh, I mean, I've read lots of different business books over the years. To be honest, I've not been reading anything for a while just because I've been too busy. But I've just been handed a book last week. I can't remember the guy's name, but it's a guy who started Nike. Just trying to think what
Mm.
his name is. So I've just been handed that as a present about a week ago. So that'll be, I'm really, really keen to get stuck into that book. But yeah, I do read all the time. A lot of times it's just on the internet, just different things, advice. And I never stop learning. That's the other thing. I think I'd say that to businesses. Never think you know everything and, you can't be taught anything. So always keep learning every day.
Definitely. Is it Shoe Dog by chance?
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
That's
that's
the
a
one.
great book.
Is it? Yes, I'm looking forward to reading that. So that'll be next on my list.
Awesome. Well, our final question in the rapid fire is, if you could wave a magic wand and overnight change one aspect of your business for the better, what would it be?
I know what it should be. I think I'm too involved in everything. Really would want to step back a little bit and kind of oversee stuff rather than be in the nitty gritty. But I can't help myself because you just want to be involved in everything. But I think I really know I should be pulling back a little bit. And as I always say, work on the business, not in the business. I know that's a really good, thing to do. I think that's what I need to do. But yeah, I need that magic wand.
Well, thank you for sharing that. It has
Yeah,
been such a great conversation to have with you, VJ. How can
thank you.
people find you online?
So, I mean, if you just Google Too Funky, number two, FUNKY, lots of stuff would come up. But I mean, our main arts website, twofunkyarts.co.uk, it's a good place to start, or any of our socials.
Oh, definitely. Well, I'm super excited to stay connected, as I'm sure our listeners are as well. So our final question for today is, VJ,
Yeah,
what is most inspiring to you today?
what's inspiring me today? Um, it's the same as every day. It's the same as every day. Just get up, lots of ideas, lots of stuff to do, and I just get stuck in to the day. Plan my day, but I just get stuck in. But every day, whatever comes on your journey inspires me. So, but yeah, but that's it.
Love it. I love it. Well, thank you for this great
Yeah,
conversation. It's been such a
thank
joy
you.
to talk to you.
Thank you. Thank you.